Hello, everybody. This is the day that the Lord has made, so be glad and rejoice in it. My name is Mr. G, your meteorologist with the weather forecast for you guys. I hope you guys have had a wonderful weekend as that weekend starts to come to a close and we get ready to go to work next week on Monday and for class. My classes for the spring semester starts tomorrow, so we have a weather forecast, but luckily all of my classes are remote, so I don't have to go to a campus because I live in Minnesota. My campus is in Mississippi, way down in southern Mississippi, so I don't have to worry about a commute to class or anything, or even a commute to work because I work from home. So as we talk about this weather forecast, we've been dealing with a nor'easter on the East Coast, and it's just about starting to wrap up now, headed through New England and out over the North Atlantic. So we're seeing that snow begin to wrap up in the Boston area through Maine and Vermont and New Hampshire as well. Some locations have received snow in the double digits, so we've seen as much as 14, maybe 15 inches of snow through some parts of Vermont, New Hampshire, and into Maine, and western Massachusetts as well. We didn't see any snow in New York City or Philadelphia. Unfortunately, we did see some flakes mixed in the heavy rainfall, but it wasn't enough to be measurable as far as snow is concerned. So that snowless streak continues for the mid-Atlantic, unfortunately, with this storm as well. And we won't see any snow in the mid-Atlantic with the next storm as well, and maybe the one after that and the one after that. We're going to have probably a long video today. We won't have any city of the day because we have so much to cover in today's video, so we just want to jump right into things and show you what's happening as far as some of those snowfall totals as of now through some parts of the Northeast and New England. So Plattsville, New York, we've seen 14.6 inches of snow. Milton, New York, we've seen 14 inches of snow. This is in the upstate New York. So over Olive Bridge, New York, we've seen 14 inches. 13.5 inches in Manchester Bridge, New York, and Haverhill, Massachusetts, 13.5 inches as well. So that's some of our snowfall jackpots in this storm system. All of it western Massachusetts, upstate and western New York, and we've seen heavier snow amounts to Vermont, Maine, and New Hampshire as well. But it's still snowing in some of those locations, and we'll have some of those snow totals once that snow comes to an end in those locations as well. And let's talk about what we're going to see as far as temperatures across the New England area. And so from Providence, Rhode Island, Putnam, Worcester, through Foxborough and Plymouth, Boston, and up to Gloucester, Maine, so Massachusetts, near the border with Maine. So we're going to be seeing temperatures in the upper 20s, the mid 20s this evening and into your morning hours tomorrow. You're going to wake up to the temperatures in the mid 20s, and tonight we're going to see those temperatures fall to the upper 20s. So this afternoon we'll see temperatures in the mid 30s, and that temperature will fall to the upper 20s tonight. And in the morning when you wake up, those temperatures will be in the mid 20s. So in Boston, you are going to wake up with a morning low of 25 degrees. So we're definitely going to see some of that snow that fell across New England stick to the ground after all is said and done, because it's certainly going to be cold enough for it. Here is the snow still to come. We're still going to be looking at 3 to 5 inches up through parts of Maine, Bangor, down through Portland, Manchester, and Boston. We still have 3 to 5 more inches to go, but I think we're starting to wrap things up here in Boston. But if you go further south in Providence, we're still looking at that 1 to 3 inches in Springfield, Massachusetts, and Rutland, New Hampshire, and Rutland, Vermont, and Burlington, Vermont as well. We're going to see maybe 1 to 3 inches of snow left to go as well. Lighter amounts further towards the west in upstate New York. So Syracuse, Binghamton, those areas might only see another inch or so, or less than an inch to go. But in a lot of those locations, the snow has already come to an end. The snow has stopped in Scranton, Pennsylvania as well. So every time I think of Scranton, Pennsylvania, that movie with Denzel Washington and the runaway train, Unstoppable, I think of that incident in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Every time I see that time, I remember that movie and the incident that occurred there. So as far as weather alerts in the Northeast is concerned, we're still under a winter storm warning in New England. So Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut, and parts of New York, we're still looking at a winter storm warning. We're dealing with a winter weather advisory through parts of Virginia and West Virginia, southwestern Pennsylvania, and in parts of upstate New York and northern Vermont, northern New Hampshire, northern Maine. We have a winter weather advisory as that snow begins to taper off and come to an end. Here are the impacts for New York City. We can pretty much say we're done with the precipitation. They still have probably less than an inch, if anything, to go. If anything else further falls from the sky. With those temperatures now, it could be snow, but all of the precipitation shield has cleared your area. So we can put a big fat 0 there for New York City for the remainder of Sunday and into Monday. But those winds will continue to gust 25 to 35 miles per hour. So it's going to be blustery and have those wind chills going into effect later or as of right now and through the remainder of today and into tomorrow. And then as we can look at what is still to come, looking at big fat donuts here across New York City, we got none and islip. Nothing's expected to fall. We're pretty much done in White Plains, Sussex, Morristown, Clinton, Princeton, and Long Branch. All of the precipitation has come to an end, so you'll be in the clear for the remainder of the day. But be watchful for that next storm that's going to come through Monday and into Tuesday. But you're not going to get any snow from the next storm. The next storm is going to be much warmer, and you're going to have a lot of heavy rain, and even some thunder is going to be possible with the next storm that's going to swing through the Northeast. Starting tomorrow, Tuesday, and into Wednesday, storm number 3 in the series of storms that we had. Well, storm number 2. Storm number 1 is clearing out now. Storm number 2 tomorrow. And we're going to talk about storm 3 and storm number 4. So we have a series of storms pretty much following right behind each other, the same pattern and the same track, almost identical. And we're going to talk about the characteristics of each of those storms later as we move through this potentially long video, because we have a lot to talk about today, guys. So Hartford, Connecticut, that 5 to 8 inches, pretty much scratch that. You're pretty much done with the snow, but the winds are going to continue 35 to 45 miles per hour. And we're going to see snow coming to the end. This is a much more updated map here, less than an inch. And we're going to see that New London with less than an inch. And we're going to see that less than an inch in New Haven. You can still see some flurries, some snow showers on the backside of that low. But as far as steady, long duration snow, that's pretty much done. But some isolated snow showers is going to remain possible for the rest of the day. But that's going to begin to taper off as that low pulls away, heads up into the North Atlantic and across New Brunswick and Nova Scotia. We're going to see that precipitation all come to an end. And then across Boston again, just snow showers for the remainder of the day. I think you can still pick up another inch to 3 or so from those snow showers, but those winds 30 to 40 miles per hour will continue. Here's a look for the Boston area, that 3 to 5. Again, we can see continued snow and snow showers. But as far as any long duration, more steady snow, that's going to begin to end as the day comes to a close and we head into the evening hours. Now we have January 8th through the 11th to look forward to. This is our next storm that's going to begin to affect the southern plains today. We're seeing that, but tomorrow we're going to see that low eject out of the southern plains of Texas and Oklahoma through the mid-south for your day on Monday into Tuesday, and then into Wednesday it's going to head into Ontario, Canada, where we're going to see that low pressure center by Wednesday head into Ontario and along the St. Lawrence River Valley, and we're going to see more heavy rain and snow over the interior of New England and Ontario. So Canada will see the bulk of the snow from this storm system, and parts of the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes will see a bit of snow, but certainly nothing for the record books for those regions. But a considerable amount of snow will fall over New England and into parts of Ontario. So get ready for that snow in Canada. But if you are along I-95, we're going to be looking for heavy rain and thunderstorms associated with the snow. And don't forget those high winds as well. We can still again see those winds up to 40 to 50 miles per hour. Here is where we're going to be seeing Monday morning into the afternoon hours as that storm system ejects out of the plains and begins to head toward the northeast. So it's going to spread rain in Texas and Oklahoma, but we're going to see that wraparound snow with that deformation band to the northwest of the low. So we're going to see snow through Kansas City, St. Louis, through parts of Missouri, and through the plains as that heads off toward the northeast. So get ready for that snow in the Midwest. Here's that low pressure center as it moves out of Oklahoma across the parts of the Midwest, heads up toward the Great Lakes and into Canada. As you can see, look at those rain thunderstorms, but look at that snow to the northwest of the low, our deformation band. So as we head into Tuesday and Wednesday, we're going to see that low pressure push into the Great Lakes and the interior portions of the Northeast and Ontario, Canada. So again, another sloppy situation for you folks on the East Coast as that storm system with lots of snow, but certainly not enough for the record books again. But we know we're dealing with that El Nino, so we're having a hard time buying a considerable amount of snow across the Midwest. But this is going to be shot at 3 to 5 inches of snow for the most part. Some folks might pick up over 5, maybe up to 8 inches across the upper Midwest. So Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, Illinois, Nebraska, Missouri, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, through the Midwest, where we consider the Midwest and the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes is where we're going to see more of the snow with this storm system, and we could pick up some snow over the extreme western portions. My camera is tripping. We're getting blurry. Come on, camera. It's just the bright lights and the cameras don't like it, so my face is blurry. Hopefully the camera comes back into focus, and we have our storm number 2 that we're going to be seeing ejecting across the upper Midwest and the interior portions of the Northeast and Ontario, Canada. But we're going to see a lot of rain on the east side of the low and the snow to the north and west of the main area of circulation with our deformation band across the Northeast. Giving you guys some good meteorology here, all right? So enjoy this. A good lesson for you. Look at all of that rain coming up from the south over the east side of the low along the Atlantic shore there, the mid-Atlantic states. So from New York City down through Pennsylvania and through Virginia, West Virginia, Delaware. We're going to be looking at Maryland here, the Carolinas. So North and South Carolina, we're going to be seeing a lot of that rain. A lot of that rain is going to be right off the shore, right along there. So if you're in like Norfolk, Virginia, Washington, Baltimore, you're going to see the bulk of that rainfall, and all the way up to New York City and even Boston. You're going to pick up several inches of rain, maybe as much as 6 to 7 inches of rain along the coastal and I-95 locations there. So definitely high impact weather again as we head into the upcoming week and we get to the midweek portion into Wednesday. High impact storm, heavy rain along the coast, snow over the elevation, higher elevation in the Cascades, the Adirondack mountain range, the Appalachian mountain range is where we're going to see the snow. We're going to see the snow in the Ohio Valley. We're going to see the snow over the Great Lakes, Michigan, Ontario, Canada, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, Northern Illinois, Northern Indiana, the Ohio Valley. We're going to see that snow. So Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Minneapolis, Milwaukee, Des Moines, Detroit, any of those cities, Sault Ste. Marie, Superior, Wisconsin, Duluth, Minnesota, the Dakotas as well. We don't want to count you guys out. So if you're in North Dakota, South Dakota, Sioux Falls, anywhere in those locations, you're going to see that snow as well. But however, the good news is you're going to be on the lower end of the accumulations, but those high winds, 40 to 50 miles per hour, will be impactful, make blizzard conditions, lots of blowing snow and drifting of the snow. Even though the snow accumulations are going to be on the lower end of the spectrum, but because of those high winds, going to be very impactful. Driving conditions are going to be treacherous and hazardous. So again, be careful if you're on the highways, 94, I-90, I-80, and if you're on 55, Highway 65, Highway 95, you're going to be all in the rain. So 95, 85, 75, you're going to be looking at rain. I-90, you're going to see rain if you go toward the East Coast through Pennsylvania, I-76, upstate New York, in those regions. Mr. G knows geography. Mr. G knows the highways and byways of this country because I've been all over. So I've traveled the world. So hey, here we go as we get ready for storm number 2 that's going to be a tremendous rainmaker and high winds. We're going to deal with severe weather with this storm. We saw that tornado in Fort Lauderdale last night. We're going to be dealing with probably more tornadoes over Florida, the Gulf Coast, so East Texas, Houston, Beaumont, New Orleans, Mississippi. So we got Gulfport, Mississippi, Gulf Shores, Alabama, Mobile, Florida. So we're looking at Apalachicola, Pensacola, Tallahassee, Gainesville, Orlando, Ocala, Jacksonville, south into Central Florida, Melbourne, Dearborn, not Dearborn, but Deerfield, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, all through the Everglades, Central Florida, Tampa, Naples, Fort Myers. So if you are anywhere in the state of Florida, be ready for a big round of severe weather. Tornadoes is going to be possible, damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour, heavy rain with large hail. I mean, the whole gamut of severe weather. We're going to see severe thunderstorms with this storm. We're going to see heavy snow, blizzard conditions, blizzard warnings in parts of the southern plains. So parts of New Mexico, Colorado, Oklahoma, Kansas, we're going to see blizzard conditions with 80 to 100 mile an hour winds, heavy snow just on Monday and into Tuesday. This is a pretty serious storm, this storm that's going to be emerging from the southern plains. Now, these storms are all hitting the west coast. They're hitting the northwest. They're coming on shore in central California near San Francisco, and they're moving across Nevada into the Southern Rockies, then dropping down through New Mexico, emerging out into the plains to Texas, Oklahoma, then ejecting out to the east through the mid-south. So we're talking like Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri, Tennessee, Kentucky, and then they're turning toward the northeast, heading more north to northeast, through West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Ohio, hitting Michigan, Ontario, Canada, so Toronto, Montreal, and into the province of Quebec, Quebec City, New Brunswick, They're hitting Nova Scotia and then emerging through the North Atlantic, north of Canada, Greenland, and heading. These storms are eventually going to affect Europe, Great Britain, Iceland, Norway, Finland. These are far-reaching storms. They have a huge impact as they move across the planet. I mean, these are planetary affecting storms. These storms are kind of acting like that big red spot, that big storm on Jupiter. So, impressive storms here. I mean, seriously, they're not storms for the record, but they are long-lasting, intense, pretty intense storms. Very dynamic storms. Lots of cold air working in. We're seeing lots of heavy snow. Lots of rain. Definitely tons of rain. We're going to see rain in the inches across the south, along the Gulf Coast, through parts of, even into the Midwest and the Northeast, the Mid-Atlantic states. Some areas could pick up as much as 8 inches or more of rain. So a lot of rain, lots of snow. Not the heaviest of snow, but very wide areas going to pick up snow. The entire Midwest is going to see snow. Especially, look at this. The entire Midwest, the upper Midwest, Wisconsin, Michigan, Minnesota, North and South Dakota, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, even down through Missouri, through parts of Arkansas, Des Moines, like in Iowa. Look at that. Kansas, Nebraska, look at all of that snow. So a big storm, another big storm. This is going to be impactful. We're talking about travel delays, power outages, personal injuries from slips and falls because of freezing rain mixing in. Some of these areas are going to deal with a bit of freezing rain before it changes over to all snow. So mixed precipitation, some sleet from freezing rain, especially in the Mid-South. So if you get through Oklahoma, North Texas here, down through the cameras, I'm going to have to get me a new camera. Seriously, I'm going to invest in a new camera later this month, actually. Because I don't like this camera, how it just turns blurry. We got excellent lighting in here. Trust me, this is a full-fledged studio. And I don't like the camera gets overpowered by the lighting. But look at this. This is a blizzard warning across the southern plains. This is Gallup, New Mexico, southern, like Durango, Colorado, southern Colorado here, North Texas, western Oklahoma, and Kansas. Winter storm warning, so we're going to see heavy snow, heavy winds. We can even see thunder snow in some of this, folks. Thunder snow. Some thunder and lightning is going to be possible with this storm as well. So very dynamic weather system moving across the country as we get through this week. And we're going to see more wintry weather in the Northeast. However, we're going to see it mostly over western New York, western Pennsylvania, Ohio, Indiana. Here's that heavy snow across Michigan, Wisconsin, southern Minnesota, Iowa, Missouri. So look at all of this. Look at this. There's a lot of snow that's going to be moving across the Midwest. We're going to see heavy snow through Maine again, Vermont, New Hampshire, upstate New York, like the Cascades, the Adirondack Mountains, so lots of snow. So excellent snow for the ski resorts in New England. So get ready for that, guys. So there is storm number 2. The next storm number 3, storm number 4. Look at these storms. Look where they're coming from. Look at that. The Pacific Northwest coming down from Alaska, from the Bay of Alaska. These big storms are forming over the Aleutian Islands and coming onshore over southern British Columbia, Vancouver, Seattle, and Portland. Big storms, and they're dropping into the country, dropping down through the Rockies to the southern plains, and then hitting across Texas and the Gulf Coast before turning northeast towards New England and eastern Canada. Look at that. Look at that track. Boom. They're dropping down. High pressure over the southwest. The continental blocking high is further out over the water towards the west in California, so they're traveling over the ridge. It's called a dirty ridge because it allows those storms to traverse the top of the ridge, and the continental blocking high, which typically sits up over the Four Corners or over Utah and Colorado, is pushed further toward the west toward the west coast. So it's allowing those storms to traverse, making a more inside track down towards the southern plains to the Gulf Coast and then up the northeastern seaboard, although some of them are more inland along the western flanks of the Appalachian Mountain Range. So we're going to see a lot of situations where this is going to generate that freezing rain. So this is going to make for lots of instances of freezing rain and sleet, snow, heavy rain, severe weather along the Gulf Coast. To the south of these areas of low pressure, we'll see the severe weather in Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas. Tornadoes, we'll see tornadoes with this activity. I mean, I cannot stress how wild the weather is going to be or continue to be through the 15th at least. Through the 15th, we're going to get through 4 big storms. 4! It's pretty exciting right now to be a meteorologist. So here is the rain that we're going to expect in the mid-Atlantic into the Northeast. Boston, this is at least 2 to 3 inches of rain through Wednesday. So about 3 inches. This is going to go up as we get closer and the forecast models get more in line, in the GFS and the Euro, the HRRR, the NAM, the different weather forecasts, and some of the short range models get more of a better handle. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the 3 to 5 inch extend up more toward the Northeast, near Boston, through Connecticut, Rhode Island, eastern New York, Long Island, Pennsylvania, Philly, down through Baltimore, across Maryland, through DC. We're going to see that through Virginia, like Roanoke and Norfolk. We're going to see that heavy rain and those thunderstorms as well. My camera is just really driving me nuts, especially when I stand over here. It's got to be how it deals with the light. So we're going to stand here and see how it works for now. Again, here is our potential for flash flooding. It's going to rain hard in the Northeast. It's going to come down heavy and come down fast. So we have a very likely scenario here of seeing flash flooding through the mid-Atlantic into the Northeast towards New England. So through Pennsylvania, central New York, here, West Virginia, Kentucky, New Jersey, we're going to see that potential for a likelihood, a very likelihood, a scenario of flash flooding. But if you look at New Jersey, the dark green, that's going to be likely, the likelihood that flash flood headlines will be issued. And even here, further to the west here in the Ohio Valley and through the Great Lakes, we're going to see the likelihood of flash flooding because a lot of rain is going to fall. There's going to be a lot of thunderstorms. Some of those storms could be severe. We can see severe weather into the Northeast. How unusual is that this time of the year? Again, heavy winds, 50 to 60 miles per hour near Boston, 50 to 60 miles per hour winds down through New York, even over the Pittsburgh. We're going to see those 50 to 60 miles an hour winds across the entirety of the Northeast and even into parts of the upper Midwest and Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, Lake Michigan, Lake Superior, Lake Huron. I know all the Great Lakes. And we're going to see those 50 to 60 miles per hour winds all the way across through the Midwest. This is going to be a pretty impactful storm. If you don't see a whole lot of snow, the snow totals is not what makes this storm. It's going to be those winds, the 50 mile an hour winds. It's going to be a tremendous storm, whether or not you get 20 inches of snow. Sometimes you can have those big snow producers not produce a lot of wind because that energy is being transferred through the atmosphere through this precipitation. So sometimes you can have a storm producing 20 to 30 inch snowfalls across an area, but not a lot of wind. And usually storms that do that usually produce it in a narrow corridor, a narrow strip in the deformation band where you can pick up that. But we're not going to see that with this storm. We're going to see a lot of moderate snowfall amounts, 3 to 5 inches, 5 to 8 inches, maybe some isolated 10 to 12 inch totals. But the really big deal is going to be those winds, high winds. Going to see some thunder and lightning with some of these snow, where we're going to see snow squalls, thunder snow. We can see thunder snow through parts of the Midwest, and individual thunderstorms in the snow can produce elevated snowfall totals. So you can see some isolated foot or more because of a thunderstorm that occurred while it was snowing. Do you understand what I'm talking about? So that can be very isolated. You won't see that over large areas. And generally, I think 3 to 8 is going to be the standard, the range here. So 3 inches on the low end, 8 inches on the high end, some isolated 10 or more. But that's going to be depending on your location and local conditions, meaning a thunderstorm in the snow where you are. So, all right, so along the Gulf Coast on Monday, it's going to be crazy. We're definitely going to be doing videos as we monitor. I might even do a live. I'm not really a big fan of doing lives because I feel it's narcissistic. That's why I don't do it. I feel like, who am I to be doing lives like that? So, I don't know. Maybe, so I don't know. But anyway, but we'll definitely, as events occur, I'll make videos when those events occur so we can get that out there. Because I expect a lot of tornadoes tomorrow and Tuesday. Tornadoes along the Gulf Coast tomorrow, East Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida. I expect a lot of tornadoes and severe weather headlines, hail, flooding, damaging winds, tornadoes, lots of, it's just going to be crazy. Very spring-like weather that we're going to see along the Gulf Coast tomorrow. And then on Tuesday, that's going to shift further to the east. So Florida, the peninsula, down to South Florida, we're going to see that likelihood of severe weather. So we have that slight risk in the south, more moderate risk in the central and northern Florida, but a higher risk of severe weather here across West Florida, southwestern Georgia, southern Alabama. We're going to see an area here where we can see elevated risk of severe weather, where we're going to be seeing tornadoes, those damaging winds and hail, very heavy rainfall. But that likelihood of severe weather extends all the way up to North Carolina and Cape Hatteras. So we're going to see that potential for those severe thunderstorms and producing tornadoes. We've seen tornadoes through the Carolinas within the last few weeks. So again, we're going to see a repeat and then some. Pretty serious situation, folks. Serious situation. Again, the power outages is going to be an issue as well. So we have a likelihood of power outages in the Northeast and New England, but we can see the possibility of power outages all the way down to the Gulf Coast. And we really should include the Midwest and the Great Lakes because of those winds with this storm. Power outages with that blowing snow and high winds could lead to some power outages as well. So I really should say the entire East has the possibility, at least, of dealing with some power outages with this very impactful storm. Here are some of the rain that we're going to see across the South Monday through Wednesday. Some areas is going to pick up 3 to 5 inches here along the Gulf Coast. In Florida, we're going to see 3 to 5 inches over the eastern side of the Appalachians because we're going to see that flow from the southeast. That circulation around that area of low pressure is going to be making that moisture come up on the leeward side. That's going to push, that's called orographic lifting, pushing that moist air up the side of the mountains. So that's going to lead to increased rainfall rates. So we're going to see higher amounts of rain along the eastern slopes of the Appalachian Mountains here through Carolina, South Carolina, North Georgia. We're going to be seeing that through Tennessee and Kentucky as well. We're going to see those elevated rainfall amounts because of the storm pushing that moisture up over the edge, up over the top of the mountain. So we're going to see that heavy rain across the eastern slopes. Here we are with our flash flood weather, our threat across much of the Gulf Coast. So Louisiana, which includes New Orleans. New Orleans, again, that it just takes 2 inches of rain to flood the canals in New Orleans and the deltas and the levees in southern Louisiana in the mouth of the Mississippi. It doesn't take a lot of rain. An inch can cause catastrophic flooding across parts of southern Louisiana. Even with all of the upgrades following Hurricane Katrina, we all remember that tragedy, but we still are dealing with a huge floodplain down here across the Gulf Coast and the Deep South, and very heavy rain. 5-6 inches of rain is definitely going to cause some pretty significant problems along the I-10 corridor and I-12, I-49 across the Deep South. So get ready for that. We're going to see heavy snow in the Rockies with the third storm of the week. So storm number 3 is going to come out of the California and the Northwest and move into the Rockies and dump tons of snow. Some areas going to be picking up 18 to 24 or inches or more. Some isolated spots will be picking up to 36 inches of snow. So lots of snow across all of the Rockies as we head over the next 7 days. So Monday through Tuesday, as the next storm moves onto the Pacific coast and moves across the Rockies and dives down to the southern plains, just like the last 2 storms. So storm number 3, and that storm is going to be creating lots of wind. So we're going to see high wind warnings down across western Texas and through the West Texas town of El Paso. We're going to be seeing those high wind and gale warnings as well. We're going to see high winds across West Texas, high winds along the Gulf Coast into Louisiana, and we're going to see those high winds through eastern New Mexico as well. So if you are in New Mexico, get ready to hold on to your hats as those winds hurl through it 50 to 70 miles per hour. So 70 mile an hour wind gusts are going to be very common. So I-40, I-25, I-10, I-20, I-30, I-45 between Dallas and Houston, going to be dealing with high winds, and later on in the week, thunderstorms as we head into Mondays. We're going to see those thunderstorms along the Gulf Coast or in South Texas, North Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Arkansas, Missouri. We're going to see the ice and freezing rain commence. So snow, ice, freezing rain. So slippery conditions. Remember, personal injuries, slips and falls, traffic collisions, overturned big rigs on the interstates because of those being blown over by those winds. Here is our winter weather and winter storm warnings that we're going to see across the southern plains, Arizona, New Mexico, Utah, Colorado, Nevada, California. Check out the Sierra Nevada. Even some of the mountains in the Santa Ynez Mountains, San Diego, the San Bernardino Mountains, San Gabriel Mountains, the Tehachapi Mountains, the coastal ranges in California. We're going to see snow up through the Cascades, the Northern Rockies, the Olympic Mountains in eastern Washington. So just a nightmare situation across the Rockies. So if you are I-80, you're driving from Truckee and you got to cross Nevada into Utah, Bryce Canyon, if you're going to be on I-80, I-15, I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to pray for you. If you don't have to do it, don't do it. But if you got to do it because you got loads to pick up or drop off, Yeah, yeah, yep. What else can I say? I can't. There's not much more I can say about how nasty this is going to be. Okay, so here's our Sunday storm for the remainder of the day that we're going to be seeing that snow. Arizona, northern New Mexico. Look at all the snow across Colorado, Denver, Salt Lake City, Utah. We're going to see that snow today. Some snow showers in the Pacific Northwest. So Idaho, Oregon, Washington will see snow showers in the Cascades. The rain along the coast. All right. Okay, so let's talk about the surf in Southern California. San Diego, high with surf advisory. A high surf advisory, Southern California. And again, Central California. I guess it could be still considered Southern California. This is Lompoc, Point Conception. This is where Santa Barbara is. Beautiful area. That's where Ronald Reagan retired to. You can visit their home there in Santa Barbara. Beautiful place. Him and Nancy Reagan. Nancy Reagan, I think she died there. But anyway, Santa Barbara, Point Conception, we have high surf warning for that area. Those waves are not playing. We're talking 15-foot wave breakers coming on shore, 15 feet high. So that's going to cause beach erosion, coastal flooding through some. If you're living in the town, like places like Laguna Beach, Dana Point, Newport, if you're along the coast, Hermosa Beach, Santa Monica, Redondo. Long Beach is okay. Long Beach is kind of protected because it faces straight south. Those winds are going to be coming from the west. So Long Beach is going to be okay. But if you are in any of the more westward facing beaches, you're going to be dealing with a ridiculous surf. You're going to get a little bit of a break when we get to Tuesday. But if you go out to sea, those swells will be 12 to 15 feet. 12 to 15 foot swells out over the Channel Islands, or west of the islands, more towards the open waters of the Pacific off the coast of California. But we'll see more wave action closer to the shore in Northern California. So San Luis Obispo to Monterey, San Francisco, San Jose, the Crescent City, Northwest, you'll see those big waves coming at you once again. Again, on Monday, it'll be more quiet than we're going to see today and Tuesday. We'll see some snow showers across the Northwest, so through Idaho, eastern Oregon, eastern Washington, and we'll see some snow moving into the Midwest, the southern plains here, and through the parts of the Midwest on Monday. Again, on Tuesday, we'll see the next storm gathering over the Pacific Northwest. We'll see snow over Idaho, Wyoming, Montana, Oregon, and Washington, northern Nevada, northern Utah. So Salt Lake City, the Wasatch Mountain Range, Ogden, those areas, Weber Basin, we'll start to see snow in that area, and we'll see that snow. Look at the rain coming into the Pacific Northwest. Seattle and Portland will see heavy rain. We'll see a frontal boundary down around San Francisco, so we'll see rain in the central northern San Francisco, Sacramento. We'll see rain over that region as we head into Tuesday. Then on Wednesday, that rain, more rain in Central California, and then that rain will begin to slide down the coast towards Los Angeles. We'll see snow in the Sierra Nevada, more snow across northern Nevada, the Sierra Nevada, more snow in northern Nevada, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, and Utah. We'll see more snow over the Wasatch Range, more northward on that one. So that storm is going to take more of a northerly track before dropping to the south in the plains. Maybe Minnesota might get one of these storms where we'll get decent snow. But looking at these forecasts, it really looks like most of the snow is going to go around us to the south. We'll get glancing blows. We'll get brushed by maybe with some light snow. But I don't see any meaningful snow in the forecast for at least the next 3 weeks for the Twin Cities and Minneapolis here. It's unbelievable. It's really amazing. This is a really powerful El Nino, and it's really making its presence known across the country. The ridiculous weather across the south and on the east coast and on the west coast, the wave action. I mean, I remember this in 82 and 83. So to see waves like this is ridiculous. It's just amazing. Now, Hawaii, we got to talk about Hawaii. There's also a storm in Alaska that's been quite impactful as well. Heavy snow across Alaska, blizzard conditions across Alaska, northern Alaska, Nome, Fairbanks. I mean, it's just been unbelievable, the storms over Alaska. And those storms have been dropping down the coast, the west coast through Canada and into the U.S. So Alaska is getting pounded by these storms first before I should cover what's happening in Alaska more. But it's, not that many people in Alaska, but and right now it's not, there's no cruises to Alaska, so not really much to talk about, but they've been pounded with those same storms that we're seeing because they come there first before they move down the coast into the Rockies and across the plains and then to the East Coast. But here, look at the flood situation across Hawaii, where we can see portions getting several inches of rain across the state of Hawaii. So we're seeing a lot of rain across Hawaii with that Pineapple Express, that fetch of moisture coming from the Central Pacific up to the Pacific Northwest and into Central California. Again, we're going to continue to see that rain through Monday and Tuesday as we have flood alerts from the Big Island through Maui and Oahu. So we're going to be seeing that rain across Hawaii as well through Tuesday at least. So this was a big weather forecast, a long video, but I hope it was entertaining, and I really hope I was able to stress how impactful these storms are going to be. And please pay attention to the videos and to the weather forecast that you can see, because these storms, this series of storms, are going to affect and cause a lot of problems for people, okay? So thank you for watching me. Leave your likes, comments, and subscribe to me on YouTube, and you can follow me on TikTok. I really appreciate the love I've been given on TikTok, and the channel is really starting to grow and getting good viewership and followership. And the people in the comments have been great, very active in the comment sections. A lot of people have been encouraging me and telling me to keep going, and they appreciate the video. So I'm going to take that to heart and keep doing this, because I'm living my dream to be a weather forecaster and pursue that education and everything like that. So this is a good hour, even though I'm not making any money. But hey, one day I'll be hitting the green for doing this, and we'll see how it goes, okay? All right, thanks everybody. Have a good rest of your weekend, and be safe out there. And if you got a lot of snow or rain or anything, be safe and take care of yourself and each other. We'll see you guys tomorrow with the video, despite that I start my classes. But this storm is just too important, so we will have that video tomorrow, or probably early afternoon or so, okay? Bye-bye, guys. Have a good night.